Welcome to my channel, Most Worth Coins WC, where history lives in your hands. If you're passionate about rare coins, vintage currency, and the fascinating stories behind them, you're in the right place. Don't forget to watch the full video, share it with your fellow collectors, like and subscribe to stay updated with more valuable content every week. So without further ado, let's get started. The 1993 United Kingdom 20 pence 2op coin, featuring the portrait of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II and the Latin inscription, Elizabeth II DG Reg, FD 1993, is a distinguished example of British decimal coinage from the early 1990s, a period marked by continuity and stability in the royal mint's production of circulating currency under the reigning monarch. This coin is part of the seven-sided equilateral curve heptagon denomination. First introduced in 1982, which filled a vital role in everyday commerce, positioned between the 10p and 5op coins as a convenient medium-value coin for public transactions. The obverse of the 1993 20 pence coin features the third definitive coinage portrait of Queen Elizabeth II. Designed by the distinguished British sculptor Raphael David Mac, introduced in 1985 and used on British coinage until 1997. Macloaf's portrait depicts the Queen facing to the right, adorned with the George IV estate diadem, a regal piece historically worn by British queens on their way to the state opening of Parliament. The effigy presents a youthful, idealized, yet dignified image of the Queen, capturing both the grace and authority of her reign. Surrounding the portrait is the Latin legend Elizabeth II DG Reg, FD 1993, standing for Elizabeth II Dei Gratia Regina Fidei Defensor, meaning Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen, Defender of the Faith, a title that has appeared on British monarchic coinage for centuries. Originating with King Henry VIII's break from the Roman Catholic Church and solidified by subsequent monarchs as a hallmark of sovereign authority and religious leadership within the Church of England. The reverse of the 1993 20 pence coin continues to feature the classic design created by William Gardner, first introduced with the denomination in 1982 and remaining in place until 2008. At the center of this reverse design lies a finely detailed crowned Tudor rose, a heraldic emblem that dates back to the late 15th century. Symbolizing the unification of the rival royal houses of York and Lancaster. Following the Wars of the Roses, the St. Edward's crown, placed atop the Tudor rose, symbolizes the monarchy's enduring sovereignty and tradition, as it is the crown used during the coronation ceremonies of British monarchs. Encircling the central design is the denomination inscription 20 pence, rendered in clean, capitalized lettering, and the year of issue 1993, placed beneath the rose, the coin's distinctive heptagonal shape, with 7 curved sides of equal length measuring 21.4 millimeters across the flats, made it instantly recognizable by touch and easily distinguished from other denominations both by hand and within vending machines. An innovation in modern coinage. Design ensuring practicality as well as visual appeal. Struck in a durable and corrosion-resistant copper-nickel alloy, composed of 84% copper and 16% nickel. The 1993 20 pence coin weighs 5 grams and has a thickness of 1.7 millimeters. Its silvery appearance, due to the high nickel content, allowed it to maintain a bright, lustrous finish when freshly struck, though circulating examples from the early 1990s typically display natural wear on the higher points, such as the facial features of the Queen and the fine detailing of the Tudor rose petals and crown. The Royal Mint, headquartered in Llantrisant, South Wales, oversaw the production of the 1993 20p, striking it both for general circulation and in proof and brilliant uncirculated versions for inclusion within annual collector sets, while the exact mintage figures for standard circulation 1993 20 pence coins are not typically separated from adjacent years. It is known that production volumes during the early 1990s were moderate, ensuring its presence in circulation while avoiding oversupply. The year 1993 itself held no specific national commemorative events relating to the monarchy or national anniversaries that would be marked by changes to the 2op design, and thus the coin remained part of the regular decimal series, which saw little alteration during this decade. Collectors of modern British coinage valued the 1993 20 pence as part of a complete date series, especially as the Macloaf portrait was used for a relatively short span, in numismatic terms 1985 to 1997, before being replaced by Ian Rank Broadley's effigy in 1998. As such, assembling a complete run of Macloaf portrait 2op coins offers a compact but satisfying collectible set for enthusiasts of late 20th century British decimal currency. In terms of numismatic value, circulated examples of the 1993 20 pence coin generally retain their face value of 20 pence in the modern market, as their availability in circulation remains relatively common. However, uncirculated examples, proof issues, and brilliant uncirculated specimens issued in the 1993 Royal Mint collector sets command modest premiums, typically ranging between £1 and £4 depending on condition and presentation, with particularly pristine or slabbed specimens achieving slightly higher prices among dedicated collectors. Unlike some other years, no major minting errors, such as off-center strikes, die clashes, or mule pairings, have been widely documented for the 1993 20 pence, making its collectability based primarily on date rarity within personal collections. Rather than error coin appeal, the 1993 Elizabeth II DG, Reg. FD 20 pence coin thus remains an emblem of a stable and well-executed period in British coinage history, combining the dignified and graceful McClove effigy of the Queen with the enduring heraldic symbolism of the Tudor rose. Its position within the decimal currency system, its role as a practical denomination in everyday commerce, and its place within the larger narrative of Elizabeth II's numismatic legacy during the closing, the decade of the 20th century all contribute to its ongoing historical and collectible interest. For numismatists, the 1993 20p represents not only a useful addition to complete decimal date sets but also a tangible link to a chapter of British monetary history defined by continuity, traditional design, and the symbolic presence of the sovereign within the nation's coinage. Even today, over 3 decades since its issue, this coin continues to circulate and to occupy a modest but meaningful niche within the heritage of modern British numismatics. The 2004 United Kingdom 20 pence 2op coin, bearing the distinguished portrait of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II and the inscriptions Elizabeth II D.G. Reg. FD 2004, is a representative piece within British decimal coinage that holds both historical and cultural significance. Struck in Cooper-nickel alloy, composed of 84% copper and 16% nickel, this 7-sided, equilateral curve heptagon coin was part of the denomination first introduced in 1982, designed to bridge the gap between the 10p and 50p coins after the UK switched to decimal currency in 1971. The obverse of the coin, crafted by the renowned sculptor Ian Rank Broadley FRBS, features the fourth definitive coinage portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, introduced in 1998. In this design, Her Majesty faces to the right, as per long-standing tradition, alternating with each monarch's reign, and is adorned with the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara, a regal piece that originally belonged to Queen Mary and later gifted to Elizabeth II. Surrounding the effigy is the Latin legend Elizabeth II, DG Reg. FD 2004, which is abbreviated for Elizabeth II de Gratia Regina Fidei Defensa, translating to Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen, Defender of the Faith, a title linking the monarchy to both its divine right and its role as Supreme Governor of the Church of England, a title first conferred upon Henry VIII. The reverse of the 2004 2op coin carries the original design by William Gardiner, which had been in continuous use since the denomination's inception in 1902, until it was eventually replaced by a segment of the Royal Shield design in 2008. This reverse side displays a crowned Tudor rose, a traditional heraldic emblem of England, combining the white rose of York and the red rose of Lancaster, symbolizing unity after the Wars of the Roses. In the 15th century, the Tudor rose, topped with St. Edward's crown, is encircled by the denomination inscription 20 pence in capital letters and the year of issue 2004, divided by the central emblem. The coin's 7-sided shape, known as an equilateral curve heptagon, was an innovation within British coinage, designed for ease of recognition both by touch and machine, with each side measuring 21.4 millimeters across the flats, a uniform dimension maintained since the coin's launch, weighing precisely 5 grams and with a thickness of 1.7 millimeters. The 2004 2op is both practical for everyday transactions and a small but elegant testament to Britain's numismatic traditions. Notably, this year's issue followed the standard production run without any known commemorative variants or minting errors gaining significant collector attention, unlike the famous 2008 undated mule error. Struck at the Royal Mint in South Wales, the 2004 2op remained legal tender within the United Kingdom and various British overseas territories and Crown dependencies. In everyday circulation, the coin's durable Cooper-nickel composition ensured resistance against tarnishing and corrosion. Although over time circulated examples exhibit the typical signs of wear, especially on the fine details of the Tudor rose and the delicate features of the Queen's portrait, collectors value the 2004 20 pence not for its rarity as it was produced in substantial quantities for public use, but as part of a continuous series reflecting the consistency of British coinage during Queen Elizabeth II's long reign, with Rank Broadley's effigy appearing on circulating coinage from 1998 to 2015. As a historic piece, it captures the numismatic artistry of the early 21st century and remains a vital component for those assembling Date runs of decimal British coins, or seeking to preserve examples of pre-2008 reverse designs before the full royal shield series reshaped the aesthetic landscape of British minor coinage. Today, while its face value remains 20 pence, circulated examples typically hold no premium above this, although uncirculated or proof versions from annual mint sets may command modest collector interest, valued between £1 and £3 depending on condition and presentation. In sum, the 2004 Elizabeth II DG Reg FD 20 pence coin stands as a well-crafted, historically grounded, and culturally resonant example of modern British numismatics, merging monarchic heritage with contemporary minting precision. The 2002 United Kingdom 20 pence 2op coin, featuring the official effigy of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, accompanied by the Latin inscription Elizabeth II DG Reg FD 2002, stands as a distinguished example of modern British decimal coinage, reflecting both the continuity of the monarchy's symbolic presence on national currency and the craftsmanship of contemporary minting practices. Minted by the Royal Mint at Llantrisson, South Wales. This seven-sided equilateral curve heptagon coin has remained an essential element of British everyday commerce since its original introduction in 1982. Created to facilitate easier monetary transactions following the decimalization of the United Kingdom's currency system in 1971, the obverse of the 2002 issue presents the regal likeness of Queen Elizabeth II in what was then the fourth definitive coinage portrait. Designed by renowned British sculptor Ian Rank Broadley, FRBS, and introduced in 1998. In this portrait, Her Majesty faces to the right, following the long-standing royal tradition of alternating the monarch's profile direction on successive reigns, and is shown wearing the iconic Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara, a historic jewel passed down from Queen Mary to Queen Elizabeth II as a wedding gift in 1947. Encircling the portrait is the dignified Latin legend Elizabeth II DG Reg FD 2002, standing for Elizabeth II Dei Gratia Regina Fidei Defensor, which translates to Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen Defender of the Faith, a title dating back to the 16th century and carried by British monarchs to emphasize their sovereign authority and their supreme role within the Anglican Church. The reverse design of the 2002 20 pence coin remains faithful to the original reverse created by William Gardner, a distinguished British engraver, when the denomination was first introduced in 1982. At the center of the reverse lies a meticulously detailed crowned Tudor rose, one of England's most enduring heraldic emblems, symbolizing the unification of the rival houses of York and Lancaster after the Wars of the Roses in the late 15th century. Above the rose rests the St. Edward's crown, used in the coronation of British monarchs and itself a symbol of royal authority and continuity. Encircling the floral emblem is the denomination 20 pence in elegant capital lettering, with the date of issue, those miwi dois placed strategically below the design. The coin's distinctive heptagonal shape, with 7 curved sides of equal length measuring 21.4 millimeters across the flats, not only makes it instantly recognizable by touch but also allows it to be efficiently processed by vending and counting machines, a hallmark of British decimal coin design since its inception. Struck in a durable copper-nickel alloy consisting of 84% copper and 16% nickel, the 2000 to 20 pence coin weighs 5 grams and has a thickness of 1.7 millimeters, balancing longevity and circulation with tactile convenience. The coin's resistance to tarnish and corrosion, alongside its appealing silvery luster when new, has made it a practical and attractive piece for daily use. In 2002, the coin was issued as part of the standard circulating coinage without any commemorative variants or notable minting errors documented for collector markets. Unlike other years such as the famous 2008 undated mule error, the mintage for the 2002 2op was substantial to meet commercial demand, though precise mintage figures are generally aggregated across multiple years for standard issues of this period by the Royal Mint. The coin's issue year, 2002, held particular significance in the British calendar as it marked Queen Elizabeth II's Golden Jubilee, the 50th anniversary of her accession to the throne. While no commemorative design was struck specifically for the 20p coin to mark the occasion, special commemoratives appeared on the £5 crown and other higher denominations. Every 2002 dated coin, including the 20 pence, carries an intrinsic connection to this momentous milestone in the Queen's long reign. Collectors often seek coins from Jubilee years for historical completeness. And while the standard issue 2op holds no special design elements distinguishing it from adjacent years, its date still marks a chapter in the evolving story of Elizabethan coinage. In terms of availability and value, the 2002 2op remains readily obtainable in circulated condition, where its value typically equals its face value of 20 pence. However, pristine, uncirculated examples, proof issues from Royal Mint sets, and brilliant uncirculated versions retain a modest premium among collectors, often valued between £1 and £3 depending on condition and presentation. Over the years, coins of this denomination have gradually shown signs of wear on high-relief details, particularly on the Tudor rose petals and the finer elements of the Queen's portrait, such as facial features and tiara decoration, making uncirculated examples increasingly attractive to those assembling complete date sets of British decimal coins, though the coin's aesthetic design would remain unchanged until 2008, when the Royal Mint's Matthew Dent introduced a modern reverse depicting a segment of the Royal Arms shield across multiple denominations. The 2002 20p coin exemplifies the closing chapter of the traditional heraldic imagery within British minor coinage. Thus, the 2002 Elizabeth II DG Reg FD 20p coin represents more than a small monetary unit. It is a tangible connection to Britain's royal heritage, its heraldic traditions, and the enduring symbolism of the monarchy's role within the constitutional framework of the United Kingdom. As a circulating piece from the Queen's Golden Jubilee year, it quietly commemorates a half-century of continuity and national service under Elizabeth II's rule, making it an appealing addition to both numismatic collections and historical commemorative displays. Whether found in a change drawer, mounted within a Royal Mint collector pack, or preserved within a comprehensive date run of decimal era British coinage, the 2002 20p remains a humble yet historically meaningful artifact of early 21st century Britain.